Good morning, Rockstars, and welcome back again to our countdown to QuiltCon as we are celebrating Color Builders, Long Arm Prep, Free Motion Quilting Academy, and of course, QuiltCon. It's a busy couple of months here at String It Story. What can I say? Today we are, oh shoot, I can't post directly to groups. I have to remember that. Today we are taking a whack at Appliqué together. So those of you who have already jumped into Aurifil Color Builders with me know that the Flora block of the month that goes along with the 2022 Aurifil Color Builders is an applique pattern. And your girl doesn't know how to applique. So I've been learning from some of the industry experts. You may remember back in December, we did Quilting Rockstars Band Camp. It was the very first virtual summit that String It Story has ever hosted. It was so much fun. I cannot wait to do it again. But part of that was for y'all's benefit if you were unsure about how to do Fusible applique for this block of the month. And some of it was for my benefit because I didn't know. So I've been rewatching those videos via the Backstage Pass and learning from the likes of Heidi Pridemore and Barb Persing and Annie Smith and others. And today we're actually gonna try this out, okay? So if you are here with me, do say hello in the chat. I'm gonna let me make sure that my audio is muted, and I'm gonna pull y'all up actually in the Facebook group so that I can see your lovely comments. I unfortunately cannot see them when I'm directly in StreamYard, which is a bummer. So let's get this pinned. I see a whole bunch of y'all are jumping on. Yay, yay, yay. Make sure Havana's not chewing on anything she's not supposed to be chewing on back there. Morning, Sue. Morning, Carolyn. Morning, Rita. Morning, Terry. So good to see y'all. Long time no see, right? You know, only like what, 12 hours? 12 hours, something like that. So I did put, if you kind of scroll up, maybe it's in the overview. Yes, so if you go from live chat, click over to overview, you'll see the caption of today's video. I've got a bunch of links for you there. Of course, the Color Builders link. I've got a link if you do not yet have the Backstage Pass, and after this, you're like, oh my gosh, I need that workbook. I need the step-by-steps. This is the workbook that's part of Bandcamp. It's like 20 pages long. It's got templates. It's got information and resources. And that's what I am using today to make this little sunny days pattern from Heidi Pridemore, okay? I'm so new at this, y'all. I'm sure I'm gonna do something dumb. So those of you who have done applique before, feel free to be like, hey, Holly Ann, actually it's better if you do it this way. All right, I am practicing in public today, okay? That this is something that I do not have vast experience or expertise in. In fact, I have very, very little. But this is the only way we can learn, right? And if I am constantly here talking about free motion quilting and talking about quilting plans and encouraging y'all to step outside your comfort zone, right? Those of you who are starting on long arm prep with me right now, right? Encouraging you to step out your comfort zone and finally unbox that long arm, finally plug it in, finally start finishing your own quilts, and ask you to share your work along the way. And I'm not willing to do it myself. What kind of teacher am I, right? Let's see. I am on my phone again today. I'm starting to think that winter weather is affecting connectivity, which is sad to me, Sue. I'm so sorry about that. There will, of course, always, always, always be a replay. Good morning. Good morning. So thrilled to have all of you here. So should we jump in? Let me talk you through what I have done so far. So the first thing I did is I got out my scraps bin from Color Builders 2021. That's the one that's on the wall behind me. Is that gonna fit? I'm gonna go set this back down over here. Or we're gonna end up with scraps all over the floor, and that would be very on brand, but not something any of us wanna have to deal with me cleaning up this morning, right? So the first thing I did is I rated my scraps bin and a little bit of yardage. So I cut out a little green block. I decided that instead of a sun, I wanted to make a flower. I just changed up the colors, okay? So I've got my little block here. And I'm using Wonder Under because that's what I had handy. I've also ordered some soft fuse at the recommendation of Kate Brennan. So I'm sure Kate will be in here at some point today. And I laid out, those of you who have experience with applique, you're like, Holly Ann, this is so basic. Those of you who do not have experience with applique, hopefully this is helpful. right? I'm speaking directly from what I've learned from Heidi, so she gets all the credit on this. Fusible side goes down, right? And I've used a fine line Sharpie to trace. I had my light box up here and I traced all of these template shapes and labeled them. Then I ironed them onto fabric. So our first step today is going to be to cut these out, okay? Like I said, those of you who have experience with applique, y'all are the experts here. So Deanna, I love to know that you love soft view. So feel free to pipe in with your recommendations, your tips, your tricks. I need them, all right? So our first step is going to be to cut everything out. The reason Heidi recommends using a fine line Sharpie is because it's the same width as our scissor blades. So we can cut right on the line and our shapes are going to come out the right size, okay? She also recommends rough cutting your Fusible before you put it onto your fabric. Wrong side of your fabric, by the way. I'm working with solids, so it doesn't really matter. But if you were doing this with prints, it would certainly matter. But she recommends rough cutting it. One, so that you're not cutting out on the line twice and thereby inherently shrinking your shape. But two, so that your edges are sealed all the way in that adhesive, okay? Shape number one, look at us go. We're off to the races. Y'all, I'm so far out of my comfort zone, but I'm also completely, and I'm like nervous about that, but I'm also completely delighted by it, right? My word this year, you're gonna hear me say it probably every day. My word this year is play. And these lives that we are doing together, honestly, is part of that for me. Because being here with y'all gives me, you know, extra permission to just be working on a project and seeing what happens. We did a little bit of long arming the other day. We cut and fold some fabric last night. This is good hand-eye coordination, y'all. You need to work on your fine motor skills. This will do it. All right. Sue says, I'm going to experiment with Steam Seam Light as I can copy the pieces right from my printer. Oh, cool. So does it just print onto the Fusible? That's pretty nifty. That saves some steps. I'm going to end up with all sorts of weird little leftover bits. This is like a whole new type of scrap to have. All right, so it's the inside of my eyeballs. Okay, so if you are here and you are experienced with applique, that's okay, Beverly. I know it happens. That's part of why I joke when I see it, is I know that like 9 times out of 10 it's an accident. Sometimes I really do upset somebody, but we try not to do that too much, you know. We try not to be that place. Those of you who have experience with applique, will you bless us all with your wisdom and drop your favorite tip or notion or maybe even favorite pattern you've made in the chat? Hello, Heavy. Oh, Heavy said, I heard that we're playing. Are we having a play break? Oh, careful. We don't want to tangle you in the cord. That's an iron. Yes. Is it a play break? Go get it. Good girl. She's been very playful today. She was so good and calm last night. Or was that yesterday? What day was that? Hey, honey, let me cut this one out. Hey, baby girl. Can y'all see her? Yes, you can. Just barely. Hello. Get your toy. So bless us with your wisdom in the chat if you are experienced with applique. If you are like me and you're not experienced with applique, maybe drop your greatest fear or greatest question and hopefully someone else can answer it or assuage it. Here's what I'll say so far, right? So we were joking around about hyperventilating with a plastic bag, or not plastic bag, gosh, that took a dark turn, with a paper bag last night. I was looking at my plastic mat here, and yeah, anyway, we were talking about hyperventilating with a paper bag last night, and here's what I'll say so far. Truly, the whole thing of we're going to go one step at a time has held true thus far. on this little project that I'm working on, right? Literally before we got on here for these early steps, I had Heidi's video playing and I was following like step by step. Like she did a thing, I would pause it, I would do the thing, right? Some of y'all do this with Free Motion Quilting Academy, right? So I'm practicing being the student. And honestly, it was kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be nice to step out of our comfort zones together this year. And then, of course, we'll get the reward of quilting this at the end, which I'm already very excited about. All right, let's see. Sue says, the only piece I've ever done was a big wall hanging called Papa's Tracks. Love the final result, but boy, did I waste a lot of stuff until I got it right. You know, yeah. I think, you know, here's what's hard. Here's what's hard. And this is true when you're learning to free motion quilt. I think this is going to be true of learning applique. It's true of foundation paper piecing. You know, I always ask that when you are in Free Motion Quilting Academy that you go to the big box store and get, you know, basically like cheap muslin and cheap batting, right? And stuff that you can get an extra deal on by using your coupons, because I want you to be able to treat practice sandwiches the way that my kids treat a ream of printer paper, right? And I think my kids don't see it as wasteful, right? Like my grown-up view of it is like, you drew one math problem on that piece of paper. Why'd you have to get a whole new piece of paper in order to do the next math problem, right? But my kids just see it as they're following creative and learning process, right? They drew half a picture, changed their mind about how they wanted it to look, grabbed another piece of paper and started over. And they don't think about that as waste because they're operating from a place of abundance. And, you know, there's an extent to which we want to be mindful, right, of not being frivolous or wasteful with supplies, with resources, etc. And yet also the creative process is lavish, right? What if we thought of it as lavishness? I was reading, oh man, I wish I could remember who this was. Who was I reading? I'm going to guess it was Madeline L'Engle, because if I'm reading anything devotional like, there is a high likelihood it's Madeline L'Engle. If y'all love just encouraging spiritual nonfiction, if that is your jam, Madeline L'Engle is my person for that, especially as creatives. But she was talking about, and pardon the theological turn, but she was basically talking about like the wasteful love of God. And that in the sense of like God's lavishness on us. Now, if you don't share my spiritual beliefs, hold with me till the end, because that's not the point. The point is maybe we have to be lavish with our creativity, right? I'm really bad at this. Okay, this is part of how I ended up in quilt making instead of painting, right? We talked about how I used to paint. And at the risk of sounding extremely offensive to those of you who have purer art for art's sake sensibilities than I do, part of what ultimately moved me away from painting is that while I love it dearly, my practical sensibility couldn't help but constantly be asking, like, what's the point, right? Of course, there are many wonderful points to painting and art making. My practical sensibility is incorrect on this. But especially when I was a even younger mom, even younger than I am now, my kids were even younger than they are now, and our finances were so tight, feeling a sense of the need for practicality in my creativity, right? And now having to, with this, you know, word of the year of play, with this applique endeavor, coax myself back away from that to rediscover kind of the joy of being lavish in my creativity, of saying, yeah, from a practical standpoint, there's going to be waste as I do this, but what is the joy metric? I shared with y'all last night Brendan Burchard's HAPPY acronym, hours of art practiced per year. I'm going to get it right on the first try one of these days. Hours of art practice per year. Brendan is my coach's coach, and Glow shared this acronym with us during a call we had last week. And honestly, it felt pretty life-changing. And the thought of that acronym, hours of art practiced per year equals happy, is part of what's got me coming on live every single day, every weekday until QuiltCon. Is because I'm like, let's just practice some art together. Let's be lavish with the amount of time we are spending, as well as supplies and effort and brain cells and emotional energy, because I'm sure at some point there's going to be frustration. There's my soapbox for the day. All right, let me read some of these lovely chats. Someone says, running late, but I have pretty good luck with seam products. I've only done hand blanket stitch with it, but works well. I've also used Wonder Under for some machine satin stitch applique with good success. Excellent. I ended up with the Wonder Under because I was at the big box store and I knew that this was coming up, and I figured I better make sure I had at least some Fusible on hand. Like I said, I'm going to try a couple other products as well. I may upgrade the scissors at some point too, to some other products. I figure QuiltCon is coming up, you know, the whole thing we're counting down to. I figure I'll have plenty of opportunity to browse and shop. This is the advantage of the fact that I'm going to be driving, right? Is that in theory there'll be lots of room in the car on the way home, right? That almost looks like it could be a thing. Now my creative brain is thinking. Okay. Sue says, I should own shares in Seam after that project. Oh, that's hilarious. I love it, Sue. Good morning, Marie. Someone says, I just learned about a product called Misty Fuse this week from Sue Pelland. It's a very fine sheer product that finishes very soft. I'm anxious to try it on something. Ooh, yeah, I've heard of Misty Fuse, but here's the thing that we gotta, you know what? I'm gonna make a mental note. I gotta holler at Kate Tony and see if I can get her to come on one of these lives with us. Kate, if you happen to be here, boo, let's have a chat about this. Kate knows much, much more about fusibles than I do. much, much, much more. And maybe we should have her come give a little chat. Maybe we should have her come give a little chat about different types of fusibles, because I really I have no clue. I have no clue. We'll just put it that way. Helen says, trace your pieces, leaving a 1/4 inch or so between each, and cut out 1/8 inch past trace line. Press pieces close as you can to save fabric without touching. Ooh, Helen, I love that. So yeah, obviously I was not being terribly efficient with my use today. So Helen has given us some tips for efficiency. I'm already spotting that with these, I could have inverted them between each other and been more efficient with my use of fabric. Now, I was working from my scrap bin, so I'm not overly concerned about it, because we know how good I am at using scraps. Not very good, right? But I love that tip. Deanna says, I'm working on a block of the month that has piece blocks and applique blocks. Ooh, I love it. Here's what I'm excited about with this, y'all, because this happened this past year with foundation paper piecing. Right, I had done some foundation paper piecing, but nothing too complicated. And after doing last year's color builders, I am not Verushka over at Pride and Joy Quilting, but I feel quite competent. And in any pattern I feel like I wanted to follow, I absolutely could after doing color builders last year. I'm excited to feel that way about Fusible applique as well. For a couple of reasons. Like, one, just being able to try new patterns, try new stuff, right? But also, I definitely have a quilt idea in my brain that needs to be an applique quilt. But it seems, Kate Brennan, if you're here, just laugh maniacally when I say this. It seems a little daunting to design an applique quilt when I don't really know what I'm doing on the applique front, right? That's so now we're gonna learn. We're learning the thing. Jan says, thank you for spending your time with us. Such crazy times. We sure need this. Love watching you and your energy and joy. Oh, Jan, it's honestly, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I would infinitely rather be looking at a screen reading your comments than trying to keep up with emails in my inbox. Like, I would much rather do this with us. Yes, yes, yes. Quilt Con Dates. They are, let's see, set up. The show opens on Thursday, February 17th and closes on Sunday, February 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. If that is helpful. We will be there with bells on. I'm driving across the country ahead of that. It's going to be great fun, truly. I'm nervous about the driving part, but it's going to be phenomenal regardless. And I'm just so excited to be back in person with everyone. If you can make it, if you feel safe making it, I would be completely over the moon to see you. We will have fabric, we will have thread, we will have color builders, free motion. I'm saying the thing, you ready? Free Motion Quilting Academy will be enrolling. So you could actually enroll in person, which would be super fun. It's going to be phenomenal. Something I'm impressed with already with this is obviously the Fusible is adding some like weight to the fabric, but it's not stiff with this Wonder Under. So I'm already pretty impressed with that, I have to say. Next year, yes, Justine. I'm going to say a thing that I'm going to hope is public knowledge, and if it's not, y'all are just going to be joined in on the secret with me. I think they had already announced this, so I don't know that it's a secret. QuiltCon will be in Atlanta next year. So QuiltCon is coming home to me next year. So go ahead and mark your calendars for end of February 2023. I would be delighted for the Rockstars to show up and show out in fine form in my hometown. Yes, we are already brainstorming fun auxiliary activities. Marie says, I'm excited to use my skin cut to cut my pieces instead of scissors. Yeah, Marie, are you watching my thumb get sore and being like, I don't have to do that this time? You are not wrong, my dear. You are not wrong. I'm already deciding that I think the part of our project together, the Flora block of the month, that is going to be the hardest is going to be the cutting. And I am figuring out that I probably should go ahead and print and fuse my pieces and start on the cutting over the weekend before our kickoff on Wednesday. Yes, Laura, you'll finally get to be there next year. It's so exciting. Yay, yay, yay. And our kickoff is next week. So if you're like, okay, this is great, but this is not frangipani, it's not all those teeny tiny little flower bits, you would be correct. We're going to do that together next Wednesday. Kate's going to be live with me. She's going to be answering questions about the block of the month and about color builders. I'm going to be doing my darndest to figure out how to applique something that pretty. I think it's going to be a good time. Oh my gosh, you have a blister on your thumb from the last t-shirt quilts, Laura? What were you doing with the t-shirt quilt? Was it just from cutting out all the pieces with your rotary cutter? I do remember that when I made t-shirt quilts, if I did like the t-shirt cutting and the fabric cutting and the fusible cutting all at once, I do remember getting blisters. The unhailed challenges of quilt making that no one talks about, right? Okay, we have our pieces. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. I am pep talking myself even more than I'm pep talking y'all right now. Okay, let's see where we at. Carolyn says, I love cutting, but I'm worried about the sewing, like the stitching down of the pieces. Yes, we will. This is the beautiful thing, right? About us being live so much together. We're going to get to do all the things together, right? I'm going to have to pull out my Singer to do a blanket stitch or to do a satin stitch because the Juki doesn't do that. If we do any edge painting, we can do that on the Juki. It's gonna be an adventure. That's all I can say. Oh, the snipping. Oh my gosh, yes, the snipping at the end, Laura, so much. Rita says, I've been listening to the social hour, pre-washing my batiks for my next quilt project. Anyone else pre-wash their fabric? Not just batiks. I honestly do not pre-wash. Y'all probably know me well enough by now to know that is not going to be my jam because of the time it takes. Okay, so next I know we need to make all of our little, they're called flames because they would be the flames of the sun. And we need to make our little face, the eyes, nose, and mouth, okay? So here's the little eye bit. And then I need to take the paper. Let me plug in my iron so it can start heating up. Ooh, I think I need a pressing cloth for this Fusible. I wonder what cloth I have that I can use. Anybody have any experience not using a pressing cloth? Can I get away with that? Let's see what I've got that might work. All right, sorry, I'm wandering around off camera because I'm digging around to see what fabric I have handy that might double as a pressing cloth. Oh, good, I have some flannel. Ha, bless. Bless, bless, bless. Okay. We gonna make a little impromptu pressing cloth. Y'all really didn't think we were gonna get through this without me making something up, right? Like surely that is not a surprise at this point that we are making anything up. All right, we'll just speaking of not pre-washing, we'll hope my flannel doesn't bleed. All right, that's gonna be our pressing cloth. Very official. Is there a good amount of water in here? I'm nothing if not an improviser, right? Okay. Oh, with cotton, I should be okay without a cloth. Okay. Let's see. Ooh, good. Okay, the paper from the Fusible can work as a pressing cloth. Okay, so I can keep that handy if I need it. Perfect. Justine, that is a great tip. Sue says, heads up, some of the Steam to Seam Light is printer friendly and some isn't, so keep an eye on that. And with cotton, I should be able to do without a cloth. Okay. Now, Heidi did give this wonderful tip of using a pen to get up under the paper without fooling at the edge. I feel like it probably works easier on bigger pieces. Ah, there we go. And it turns it into like a little crack and peel. Got to make sure that you don't like peel up. There we go. Okay. All right, I got to be honest with you. My son is going to be a little bug-eyed. I'm not convinced I did this properly, but we're going to lean into it. We're going to embrace it. Oh crap, just scratch across like paper mache. Okay. See, this is why I need y'all. Okay. Oh, that was brilliant, Asta. Thank you. I feel like peeling all of the nose up maybe wasn't the move because now isn't it gonna not fuse to the face later? Okay. How does that work? Right? Of like if I peel, like I took the paper off the back of the nose, but I'm only pressing the bit that goes to the eyes, will it still stick? Will it still stick to the rest of the face later? Or did I just mess it up? Like, did I ruin it? We don't know. Did I ruin it? Okay, we're gonna try without the pressing cloth. Move this out of the way because I haven't taken the papers off. Oh, sorry, I bumped the camera. I didn't realize, y'all. Okay. And then I've got this Teflon pressing mat so that I can see my, okay, did we do it? I think I did the thing. Okay, step one. It will stick after you peel it off the sheet. Okay, if you put your pattern underneath, you can press onto your Teflon sheet. Yes, I have my pattern underneath. I've got it all lined up. Y'all. Oh, I'm cracking myself up. I'm so outside of my comfort zone right now. And we are just going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. There's nothing else to do but to go with it. Right? Okay, so flame number 1, or petal number 1 in our case, because we're making a little flower. It does seem to be doing okay without the pressing sheet. Maybe I'll use that when we get to the bigger pieces. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. All right, we're making progress. We're making progress. Let's get all these guys lined up. Do, 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 do. I hope y'all are laughing hysterically, by the way. Like, this is hilarious. Okay, yes, it will stick. Take smaller pieces and put on larger pieces and just tack down. Leave paper on the back of the big ones until ready to press onto the fabric. Okay, perfect. So I'm doing this correctly. I have a trash can over here, but am I using it? No, of course not. That would be entirely too logical. Just put the pressing sheet to keep the glue off your iron. No worries. Okay, okay. Heavy is keeping busy. What is... Havana! Thank you, Terry. Get out of my bedding! Don't kiss me to say I'm sorry. You're in trouble. This is real life. This is real life. This is real life. Pro tip, if you have a dog and you float your batting like I do, quit trusting her to leave it alone and always fold it up in between quilting sessions. Oh, Terry, bless you for saying something. What a naughty dog, Havana. What a naughty dog. You little troublemaker. You little troublemaker. Real life. It's real life. You know what? The batting, I already was going to have to do some creative work on that batting. It's going to be fine. We got this. We got this. I do need a batting hammock. Oh, wait. What? That's a real thing? Please send me a link. Like, email me a link. I'm buying one today. Like, so, no. I don't know what are you cold? Do you want your bed over here? Would that assist us in not having you act like a little terror? Can you lay down, please? Can I tuck you in? Okay. Stop being a terror. Okay. I definitely need a batting hammock. Please, please, please send me a link. I truly see this is why I love y'all, because I don't know all the things. Somehow I've never seen that, and I 100% need one. And Handy Quilter has one, even better. Why is my live video interrupted? Are we back? Okay. All right. Well, if that's the worst thing that happens today, though, it is still not life or death. All right, I'm just lining all these up. And then I'm going to hit them all with an iron at the same time. And they're only 50 bucks. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I need that in my life. That is going to be money well spent. Because honestly, that was quite a bit of batting that you have. Oh my gosh, y'all. She's laid down under her quilt now. Hang on. Where's my StreamYard? Y'all got to see this. You're going to see two of me for a second. Okay. Look at this. Whoop. Look at her. Whoop. Okay. Where were we? Okay, can y'all still hear me okay? I think so. Let's see, edit my settings. We're gonna hope that is correct. Okay, where were we? This one. Yeah, she's acting all angelic and sweet now. I think she just wanted her bed. Like, I think she wanted something soft and like warm to lay on because there's a concrete floor in here. But why she couldn't just lay over there, you know, a whole 15 feet from me. Dogs. We simultaneously don't deserve dogs, and they're the most ridiculous ever. Yep. Yes, Jan, I'm exactly gonna have to patch it in the middle of quilting it with this one that I'm working on now. Now, like even more so. Good grief. Good grief. It's true. I'm 0% capable at staying upset at her for more than about 5 seconds. Especially because, you know, it's what we always talk about when we're talking about quilting plans and free motion quilting. It's that it's important to us. It's meaningful, our quilts and the work we've put into them. And yet it is also not life or death, right? And so it's like, yeah. Yes, the batting, the hammock is exactly it. Yes, I'll patch it. No one will know. No one will know except I'm gonna tell everybody, right? Like I'll probably write a blog about like what the heck I did when my pet ruined my batting. Actually, that's a great idea. And then I can write about the batting hammock that y'all told me about and how it's gonna solve all our problems. It's gonna make my life so much easier. It also just look tidier too. So there's that. Okay, come on. Line right up. Now I'm using my fingers for all of these, having looked exactly. No life was lost. All is well. Looking at some of the color builders products that are coming up. Supplies that you may want to have handy, right? We talked about having Fusible, having our thread, having our fabric. All right. You may also want tweezers. I suspect that I might want tweezers because it's going to be, all right, item one. Now I can do 2 at a time because those are some small pieces. And 2. Look at us go. Look at us go, y'all. We're doing the thing. We're doing the thing. I think we call this childlike excitement. Is that what we call it? Yeah, okay. So Maria's affirming the tweezers. I just was looking at the size of the pieces and was like, after I finish hyperventilating about this, I think I'm gonna want tweezers. But it's just like I told Sue yesterday, right? We haven't done it yet. But we're gonna do it. We've done harder things. We're gonna figure it out. Okay, so it's for a 10-foot frame. Mine right now is set up as an 8-foot, so I will have to hack it. I can also see if maybe there's, you know, another brand making one that fits properly. All right, I got to figure out my smile situation here. I should have done this while I still had my light box plugged in. Let me plug in my light box real quick. BRB, you'll still be able to hear me. I'm just going to run to the other side of the room and grab this. We'll just awkwardly balance it here for a second. Do I still have it plugged in? No, and I'm out of plugs. Darn. Okay. Over here. I have another plug over here, so I'm going to make use of it. Over where Havana was trying to get into even more batting. Come on. Oh. So I'm using my light box per Heidi's recommendation. I already traced the smile onto the Fusible on the other side. And now I'm simply using the light box to see the smile through the fabric so that I can trace it onto the right side. Okay, so coming back over to y'all. Abby, you're so darn cute. We now have a smile. Okay, let us position the things, right? Pins. One of the bigger toy hammocks on Amazon can be rigged for the 8-foot frame. Fascinating. Jan says if you Google it, many have altered the hammock to make it work by tightening the ties. Okay. Yes, I do have a wool mat under my applique sheet. Audra, that's a really relevant question, and I'm glad you asked it. Yes, I have a wool pressing mat under my applique pressing mat. So I'm working right here. Yep. Y'all are a wealth of information. That's what I love about being in here with y'all. Okay. That looks pretty good, right? Ready? No going back now. This applique mat, by the way, is the Applifuse mat by the Gypsy Quilter. I got it from Heidi Pridemore from her shop. Okay, so these I guess I should go ahead and take the paper off of these as I'm laying them down. Okay, pens. Contact them when my cat put holes in mine. That's how I know. Oh, Jan. Oh my gosh. I will say, so I mentioned last night that one of the things that is hard about the studio not being in my house anymore is that it makes it harder to stitch at night, right? Like I love some good evening sewing time. I'm such a night owl. But it means that like Hubster and I really have to plan because once the kids are in bed, obviously somebody has to be home. And so when my sewing room was at home, if he had something he wanted to do in the evening, like, and I wanted to sew, no big deal. I'd just be like, yeah, the kids will be asleep. I'll be in my sewing room, like all is well. It's trickier now because I have to be here. And so he has to be home. But one of the things that is very nice, I will say, is I don't have to stress about the cats getting in here. I always kept the door closed on my other sewing room, and that generally worked. But, you know, once in a while they would wander in, and I was always terrified they were going to wreak havoc. I'm trying to think if they ever actually did. I feel like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh no, it's frayed. I feel like this one maybe did you not get fully pressed? What's the deal? Hold on. Let's see if we can. Maybe a little more pressing for you. I feel like the Fusible is still very stuck to the paper. All right, we're gonna let that one sit a second and cool off. I feel like Monty got in there one time and got stuck, and I came in the next morning, and he had like straight up dropped a turd on top of the quilt on the long arm. And the only saving grace of the whole situation was that it was not messy. And so a little spot cleaning did the trick. But what a cat thing to do, you know what I mean? Jansen, I just walked in, he's very cute. His head was through the holes he'd made, and he looked like he was very proud of himself. I keep the door closed now. The cat got in for a minute and chewed the cord of the Juki. Oh no. Yeah, that's why I do not I don't rue the cats no longer being around the sewing. It makes things a lot easier to not have to worry about their shenanigans. Okay, I must not have pressed all of these super well. So there's our learning lesson for the day. Enjoy your company, Sue. We'll see you soon. I'm excited to see my finished flower too, truly. So far out of my comfort zone and honestly kind of loving it. Okay, so the rest of you, I know there are many more of you who have critters. What kind of critter do you have? Are they allowed in the sewing room? And what trouble do they cause? Our poor pets. I just totally instigated a conversation of throwing our pets under the bus. All right, let me get making progress. We're making progress. My iron is set to medium right now. The instructions for Wonder Under said wool setting, and my mini iron does not have that, so I just went with medium. So it's working well so far. One of the tips that Heidi did give during band camp is to make sure that you read the Fusible instructions because every single one has different instructions. And so it's important to make sure you're following along. Yeah. All right. Honestly, I feel like a superhero just with this crack and peel tip. Thank you. Thank you for this one. Okay, come on, come on. Yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna have to work on my pressing technique for some of these. I don't, any idea why is it just that I didn't press it enough that I have a few that the Fusible is peeling up? Let's see. Deb has a rag doll who sheds on everything. Everything. Yes, that was the other thing I was always really worried about with the cats, because obviously we just got Havana in 2020, so she's a more recent addition. She also cannot climb, right? So her ability to shed is on things is somewhat limited. But I did a lot of customer t-shirt quilts and charity quilts at the beginning of my time quilting. And I'm very aware that just a lot of people are allergic to cats. So it says my cats are allowed in the sewing room if I'm there, but otherwise no. Too many toys. Agreed. Marie says I have a lab who will pick up anything he can reach, so he's not allowed. Yeah, a lot of lint removers. That makes sense. Oh, Rita, carpal tunnel. Yes. That makes sense. Maybe just do tiny little bits at a time. My signal is definitely unstable. All right, y'all, we're gonna try what we did yesterday to get to the end here. I noticed that it's cutting in and out. So let me, if I vanish, I'll come back. Hang tight. Also, oh my, has it been crooked this whole time? Hang on. Oh my Lanta. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, let's do. Press too much or too long, it'll melt the adhesive too much, and then it won't stick again. Yay! Here comes Heather. Hang on, let me in. Oh, there we are. We're back. I was gonna let you in, but I'm too fast or too slow. You're too fast. Yes, I am. It's coming apart right now. It's okay. Once you get it all together, it'll press well. Okay, and let cool before moving. Havana got into the batting again. I learned that there is a thing called a batting hammock. We're getting one. Yay for the Rockstars knowing things. It's gonna be okay. Perfect. All right, y'all. Last piece. Look at this, and then we just have to put it on the block. We're so close. Okay. All right, and we have to just kind of scoot them in if they're not in far enough. They don't really scoot on this mat, if I'm honest. So we will pick up and scoot them. What does my watch want? My watch is like, can you please stand up? I'm like, honey, I've been standing. I've been standing this whole time. Okay, let's try now. Oh, y'all, it's cute. It's cute. It's a thing. Oh my gosh, we made a thing. All right, I want to make sure that they're, up under there. How far underneath this edge does everything need to be, y'all? Pray tell. Like, does it need to be like a full quarter of an inch, an eighth of an inch? Does it matter? Because we're going to fuse it to other fabric later. Okay. All right, I've still just got it on the medium. I'm kind of doing quick little presses. Yo, it's cute. It's cute. Enough to keep it together. Okay. Are we capable of keeping anything together at this point into the global pandemic? All right, I'm gonna do a little an easy centering technique for this and just finger crease a little plus, and that's just gonna help us center this. Okay, y'all, truly, this is like, so I did the grandmother's kitchen quilt along with Pat Sloan, and I did the apron block, and I did the peppermint block. Those are the only applique blocks I did from that block of the month. Those are the only other times I have appliqued. So if you are here and you are nervous about color builders because of lack of applique experience, I hope that you are less nervous after this little exercise of me just trying something new. Now, y'all, I will admit, I meant to do the light color on the outside, and I goofed when I was pressing earlier, and that would have helped our little flower stand out more, but it's still pretty cute. Okay, maybe we should use the pressing sheet now. Let's moisten this up again. Sorry, Havana. Havana's like, Mom, you're making it rain. Like, okay. Ah, the sizzle of using a pressing mat. Okay. All right, now we just got to press to dry out the fabric a little bit more. Y'all, we did a whole thing together. Look at us. And we did it in under an hour. I'm so proud of us. Now, this obviously still needs some finishing stitches. My live video signal is still not great. I wonder if it's the storm we have coming. We have a whole winter storm situation. Y'all, we made a thing. I should probably let it cool for a second. We made an applique flower together. So Rockstars, let this reassure you, we can try new things. We can try stuff that feels hard and scary. Uh-oh, we have an edge that didn't fuse. Oh, is that the one that was all messed up? It is. It is. All right, let's give it a little bit of love. May just have to stitch it down. Okay. So Rockstars, be encouraged. We can try new things, stuff we are unfamiliar with. We can step out of our comfort zone, and with excellent instruction, which we are blessed to have from some of our very own industry experts, following step by step, we can in fact make something that we've never made before. So Rockstars, hopefully on Tuesday night, perhaps we'll do a little bit of stitching on this lovely little flower together, and just practice that. And then notice I said Tuesday, by the way, because Monday String and Story is closed for MLK Day here in the US. Okay. So Tuesday we'll do a little bit of stitching together. I think Heather may also be here Tuesday night. We may be doing some fabric, and then we will actually kick off the fusible part of Frangipani on Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for social hour. Just as a quick reminder, if you toggle over to overview, that's where Facebook is hiding the description now. I have links for the Color Builder subscription if you're like, all right, let's do this crazy thing. Let's jump in together. Also, y'all, just the opportunity to build your thread collection. It's going to be stunning. I'm so excited. I've got a link to the Backstage Pass from Quilting Rockstars Bandcamp. If you didn't purchase that, then you can purchase it now. That is 4 hours of educational content, and it includes this wonderful workbook with several patterns in it, lots of tips and tricks and guidelines and all the things, okay? And it's on sale right now for $39. And then, of course, I've also thrown in a link over to our shop because we are having we do have a curated fat quarter bundle for Aurifil Color Builders this year. All right, so Rockstars, thank you so much for being here, and you can do this. You can do this. That is what we just learned together. We tested and proved it that we can do this together. So we're going to have a fabulous year of applique. Then we'll get the reward of free motion quilting it. It's going to be glorious. All right, Rockstars, it's been wonderful being with you so much last week and this week. I will see you next week, starting on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. See you later.